Hey everybody, welcome back to my channel. It's great to have you here. Today I want to just share with you a little bit more about kind of my journey through anxiety to feeling confident and to being where I am today. And I'm sharing this, I mean, I'm quite a private person to be fair, but I'm sharing this because I know that when I had my breakdown, and I've mentioned this in other videos, I really felt like I was the only person in the world who felt like this. I mean, anxiety itself is really isolating, and even more so, to make it doubly worse, that's the right phrase, it keeps you away from people. And so not only does it isolate you, but it stops you then, certainly for me, it stopped me meeting friends. It stopped me going to, birthday celebrations, meals out with family. It stopped me going to the shop. It stopped me leaving the house. I wasn't seeing anybody unless they came to the house. And so, you know, it's quite personal, but it's part of why I do it. It's why I do what I do. And I think by being open and raw and honest, as difficult as it is sometimes, because like I say, I tend to be quite private and I don't really share stuff. But I do think it's important because if there is anybody watching this right now who feels anything like I did, I don't want you feeling alone. I don't want you thinking there is nobody else on this earth who feels like me, because that's not true. And it was only when I started to talk about these things that people would say to me, like, oh, yeah, I felt like that, or yeah, I'm on medication. And I was just like, crikey, where have all these people been? I had no idea because people didn't talk about it. And I think we should. And so I'm in my little corner of the internet. I'm trying to break down stigmas. I'm trying to, I don't know, help people to feel more open and less judged about talking about these things. And so I had a breakdown in 2015. I'd left a previous relationship that was very toxic and very negative. And I was a single mum then. My little girl was 4, and things were quite tough. It was quite a stressful time. I had no money. I had bailiffs round. My house was up for repossession, and it was just horrendous. But you have to keep going, don't you? And I'm sure, again, if people are watching this, you think, well, yeah, I've got a 4-year-old. She still had to get up. She still had to go to the nursery, and we still had to function. And so I did. I was just running on autopilot, but I had to keep going. And eventually I met my now husband. And I think the key to remember as well, I was very much putting me last, because it was all about Chloe and it was all about just functioning. And then I met Stuart, and eventually he moved in. And I think, really, looking back, that my body just said, that's it now, enough. You don't have to worry about Chloe because she's fine, because Stuart's here, so she's okay now. You don't need to do all of these things. And so I just went to bed one day and I didn't get up. And I don't even remember whether that was days or weeks. I can't remember. I really can't. Went to the doctors and he said, you've got anxiety and depression. I was like, oh, okay. And so this is where my journey began. But this journey took 6 years because I didn't have anybody to guide me. And so it was a bit of I call it, I had to bimble my way through it, because it was just like, okay, I took the medication that I was offered and it helped. But it still didn't give me the strategies that I needed to actually get out of the house. Because even after I started getting up, I wasn't leaving the house. And so it was like, so the medication helped to a degree, but I still needed to find a way to kind of get back. I felt like I was very much a spectator in life. I really did. I felt like I was watching life on the telly, or well, through my windows of my house, because it was like the whole world is out there and I'm in here. I couldn't even take Chloe to the park. It was awful. And so why am I sharing this? I mean, it's quite, but I am sharing this because I'm going to share with you the 5 main things that I did with a view to, if you're watching this and thinking, oh my God, that's me, that maybe you could take these 5 steps and that they will help you, because they did help me. And so first of all, I did go to the doctor. I mean, I was convinced I was mad, and I thought that's what he's probably going to say. I was worried that they were going to take Chloe off me. I thought social services would be involved, and that she would be taken away. But of course that wasn't true. But that was again, that was my negative voice, that was my chatter, that was my anxiety keeping me in and not going to the doctors. But I did go to the doctors, and I'm really, really glad I did. My doctor was amazing and really supportive and really helpful. And it was hard. I mean, obviously I had to open up to Stuart and kind of say, look, this is how I'm feeling, these are the things and all of that. And I started to open up to more people, like to my mum and other family and to close friends as well. And actually it was quite a relief, actually admitting I'm not okay. After pretending for so long, after putting that painted face on, even before I had my breakdown, kind of the painted smile as I left the house. And when people say, you okay? Yeah, I'm great. Yeah, great, thank you. I'm thinking I'm really not great. And so actually admitting I'm not okay, oh, it was such a relief. So I don't have to lie anymore. I can just be honest and say, do you know what? No, things are really awful just now. Of course, there were people who didn't understand. I mean, if you've never been through it, it must be really tough to kind of like understand, like, why can't you leave the house? It seems a bit like, what is stopping you? But that was my truth. But then what I also started to do, and again through the reading that I was doing, the CBT, and again I've done a previous video on CBT and anxiety and how that helped me in particular, I started to become more aware of what I was consuming. So this wasn't just about what I was eating, although we did actually research to see whether diet could help and diet could play a part in it. And that's a whole other area, because it absolutely can. And again, I talk about these things on my socials all the time, and because it's so important, but I hadn't realized that until then. But it wasn't just about my diet, it was about my environment. It was about, some people who were in my circle of influence who perhaps they didn't need to be there because they were having quite a negative effect on me. What I was listening to, what I was paying attention to, because when I started paying attention to that and being aware of that, I could see how those things were having a negative impact on my mental health, on my self-esteem, and on my confidence. I was paying attention and giving attention to things that weren't serving me very well. And it was only when I started to kind of look at that and think, actually, yeah, these things aren't helping me at all. It allowed me to make some changes. Another thing that I did was I made some daily promises to myself. I never make a promise that I won't keep. It's always been a big thing of mine. So if I promise something, it's because I'm going to do it. And so instead of kind of creating, I do love a to-do list, to be fair, but instead of creating myself lists of things to do, because back then I couldn't handle that, because I was already feeling very overwhelmed and tired and all the things. How I did that was I made some daily promises to myself. And this list, I always do things in five. So this list was 5 things that I would do every day that would make me feel nice. So, but you've got to remember back then, I was also depressed. So wasn't in a great place really. And obviously having spent some time in bed, um, these daily promises, they sound quite basic now. It's like that's just a normal morning routine, but they weren't to me back then. So you've got to kind of remember where I was when I created these. And so my daily promises involved getting up every day, getting up and having a shower every day, getting dressed every day, brushing my teeth every day, doing my skincare. I'm lucky enough to be partnered with a network marketing company. We've got the most amazing skincare, which I never used up until that point. But we had a set that we'd been gifted by the company. And that's when I started my skincare journey. And it just felt amazing. So one of my promises was that every day I was going to do my skincare because that felt like a treat for me. And I got dressed. And so, yeah, I created these 5 daily promises to myself, and I still do them to this day. I've done them for years because they make me feel nice. They make me feel good. And they give me a really positive start to the day. I also created some daily positive habits. Now, don't forget, this is a bit of a journey. Didn't do everything day one. I built up to these things. These things are my non-negotiables. These are the things that I do day in, day out, without fail. So apart from my daily promises, which again, if you've listened to them, you'll think, well, that's just like getting ready. My non-negotiables are things like every day I write down 5 positive statements about myself. So 5 affirmations. Every day I write down 5 things that I'm grateful for. Every day I write down 5 manifests, so things that I'm wanting in the future, but I write them in the present tense because I'm tricking my brain into thinking these things are real, they're happening now. I journal every day as well. And I read personal development every day, or things that really help to kind of expand my mind and my brain, maybe get me thinking, that educate me, empowering things. I love novels as well. That's my nighttime routine. But my daily positive habits are all about, as well as my daily promises. So my daily promises get me up and feeling nice. And my daily positive habits are the kind of the reinforcing of, okay, now I'm feeling good about myself. Because you've got to remember, I didn't have anybody to guide me through this. So I really had to find my own way. And this is why I do this. And this is why I'm sharing all of this on here. Perhaps I'm hoping that some of the things I'm saying, you think, actually, I'm going to try those things. And it's exactly why I now coach women with anxiety. And I'm really passionate about holistic health and well-being. Like I was saying, understanding the connection between our gut health, hormonal health, mental health, and physical health, our emotional mind. It all plays a part, and we have to look after each area for us to be well. And this is how I help women, because when I think about it, the signs were there. The signs were there way before my breakdown. And I think talking as a woman to other women, I think we do that. And I'm not saying men don't, but I think we do tend to like, oh, and when I was talking to people and saying, oh, I feel really tired, I feel really stressed, it was almost like, well, yeah, you will do. Yeah, you've had a really tough time and, you're on your own and you've got, like debts and things and bailiffs, and it is stressful. You're going to feel stressful, so you kind of think, oh yeah, okay, yeah, you're right, it is a stressful time. I just need to shush and just carry on then, you know. But I should have started looking after myself way before I ever did, and I wonder if I may have prevented the breakdown. But I think the breakdown actually did me a favour, and I think it was my wake up call. And I think it really made me like stop and take charge. But I don't want other women to end up in that position. I don't want women to lose sight of themselves and end up at rock bottom before they actually start to look after themselves. And so this is what I do. This is why I do, sorry, what I do. And at the end of the day, life's too short, right? We need to be out there. We need to be living the life that we want to live. We need to feel fulfilled. We need to feel happy. My word of the year is abundance. I want to feel abundance in all areas. I want that for other women, just to feel like we're contented and living the life that we want. And so I do private coaching, as well as I have a membership as well, and I also do 1 hour empower hours. So my coaching program encompasses 4 key areas. So it follows my calm strategy. So the C is for compassion. We need to be kind to ourselves. I wasn't kind to myself at all. We need to be kinder, there you go, to ourselves. The A is for awareness building. It's to understand and to be more aware of what our bodies are telling us. Like I said, the signs were there for me and I just ignored them. I was just like, yeah, whatever, I need to just carry on. And so I focus on building awareness, because the signs will show up. Your body will be telling you when things are right and when things are not right. And we need to pay attention to those things. The L is for learning coping strategies. So the actual, what can I do to help me manage stress, overwhelm? How can I feel more confident? How can I release anxiety? You know, so some actual things. And on the previous video, I talked about CBT. That was the big shift for me, and I loved it because it was actually do this exercise, you know, do this thought process. You go, oh, that's amazing. Okay, I can see now how I can turn that round. And M is for a mindset shift. I needed to change my mindset. I needed to change how I viewed myself, but also how I viewed my world and my environment. And so this is what I cover in my private coaching, but also I share bits about all of these things on my social media as well. And so if you wanted to, I have a Facebook group. It's a community support group. I really love that group, and you know, where I share lots of these things. The link to it will be in the show notes underneath this video. If you want to know any more about any of the private coaching services that I've mentioned, then just get in touch. Again, my contact details will be below this video. And if you like this video, please like it and share it with your friends. Like I say, I'm passionate about spreading the word, not because I want to tell the world about my private business, but because I just think it's important to get it out there, because I don't want any woman to feel like she's on her own if she's feeling like I did, you know. And I want to give hope, and I want to help, and I want to support women. So thank you for watching. I really hope that you found it useful. I am grateful for you being here. Please subscribe to my channel as well, and that way you'll get some updates when I share new content. Thank you for watching. Take care, and I'll see you soon.